Jim Jordan sends a letter over to special counsel Jack Smith and to him directly saying, hey, Jack, you've got some interesting people on your team like this guy. Jay Bratt allegedly was threatening or implying threats to a defense attorney called Woodward. Woodward is representing a co-defendant in Trump's case, and apparently during negotiations, Jay Bratt, the prosecutor, was saying to the defense lawyer, you know, I know you want to be a judge on a superior court here. It would be very helpful to your application if your client flipped and worked with us against Trump. Obviously inappropriate. Woodward is not happy about that as a defense attorney. Extremely offensive, unethical, and improper. And so Jim Jordan is sending letters over to Jack Smith, him in particular. He says, hey, Jack, special counsel, U.S. Department of Justice. We got questions for you, buddy boy, coming from the Committee on the Judiciary and an upcoming presidential election. Last year, Jay Bratt, one of your senior prosecutors and top aides, allegedly improperly pressured Stanley Woodward, a lawyer representing a defendant indicted by you, Jack, by implying that the administration would look more favorably on Woodward's candidacy for a judgeship if Woodward's clients cooperated with you, Jack. So Bratt pressured the lawyer to flip his client, and if the lawyer flipped the client, the lawyer would have been appointed as a judge. See how that works? That's the type of DOJ we're dealing with. Jordan says, all right, Jack, you know, this type, an attempt to inappropriately coerce Mr. Woodward raises serious concerns about the abusive tactics of your office. In November, when your prosecutors were trying to secure cooperation of Walt Nauta, one of the co-defendants in the J6 on the classified documents case in Florida, when you were trying to get him to cooperate, Walt allegedly moved boxes at Mar-a-Lago. Prosecutors, including Mr. Bratt, summoned Mr. Woodward, the lawyer for Walt, to a meeting at the headquarters. They said, hey, Stanley, the lawyer, we got something to talk to you about, man. It's an urgent matter. We can't talk about it over the phone. Just get over here. So Woodward said, all right, I guess I'll come talk to you guys. When Woodward arrived, the lawyer, he says, Mr. Bratt, the lawyer, the prosecutor, threatened him. He said, your client Nauta should cooperate because he had given potentially conflicting testimony that could result in a false statement. So when your client talked to us, his story changed, which is perjury, lying to us. We're going to charge him with false statements to an officer. And they're having this conversation back and forth. And Mr. Bratt, he says to Mr. Woodward, the lawyer, he says, you know, Stanley, you know, I know you're representing Nauta, but gosh, I didn't think that you were really a, quote, Trump guy. And he indicated that he was confident. He said, I didn't think you're a Trump guy, and I'm pretty sure you're going to do the right thing here. And Mr. Bratt referenced Woodward's, the lawyer's, pending application for a judgeship on the Superior Court. You know, I don't think you're a real Trump guy there, Stanley. I think that you're going to come to the right side of this issue, and you're going to see the light, especially if you want to get that judgeship on the Superior Court. And that we might look more favorably upon Mr. Nauta if he was a cooperating witness. We're going to put you on as a judge. Give it more favorable consideration if your client flips. Disgusting behavior. Mr. Woodward subsequently, the defense lawyer, informed the Justice Department that they would have no further communications unless they charged Nauta or brokered a deal. He said, all right, you guys are done. Don't ever ask me to flip my client in exchange for a personal benefit. Get out of here. After Mr. Woodward declined to give in to the intimidation and the coercion, shout out to Stanley Woodward out there. Cheers to Stanley Woodward. Mr. Bratt once again sought to induce his cooperation by attacking Mr. Woodward's representation. So they're attacking the lawyers now, right? Mr. Bratt filed a motion in Nauta's case. Stanley Woodward, the defense attorney, represents two other witnesses who could be called to testify at trial, and that they should procure independent counsel. So we're going to take the lawyer's clients away from them by saying they're conflicted off. The lawyer is unethical and hasn't properly advised his clients about the representation. And so they wanted a hearing so that Woodward's clients could be advised about the conflicts. Prosecutor wants to drag the defense clients in so that they can wreck the relationship between the defense client and the defense attorney. To bring them in and say, Mr. Defendant, you know that your lawyer is representing other people and you should have doubts about him. Are you sure you want to do this? Just to shatter that relationship, as though the attorney, Stanley, can't have that conversation with them. So it's like an admonishment type of a thing. Mr. Woodward's reply stated that the intimidation threats were an attempt to diminish the court's authority over the proceedings in this case and to undermine exactly the attorney-client relationships without any basis for doing it. So Jim Jordan says, all right, Jack, listen. The department's mission is to ensure impartial justice. Yeah, right. By upholding the rule of law, meaning all employees, including Mr. Bratt, have to obtain and maintain the highest standards of ethical conduct, if you believe that. Mr. Bratt's attempt to bully Mr. Nauta into cooperating, first by extorting his attorney and then by alleging a conflict of interest that precludes his attorney attorney from the case seriously calls into question your team and your ability to remain impartial and uphold the department's mission. So, accordingly, Jack, here's what we need so that we can fulfill all of our oversight obligations. Please produce the information soon. All documents and communications referring to any appointment, meeting, or other visit by Mr. Woodward to the DOJ, the defense attorney, including the Office of the Special Counsel about Nauta's representation. We also want all documents between the Office of the Special Counsel, you, Jack, the Office of the Attorney General, Garland, and the Deputy Attorney General related to Woodward and his representation. So I want to know what you guys are talking about Nauta and Woodward. And we want all documents and communications related to the application to fill a vacancy in the District of Columbia Superior Court. Ooh, that's fun. All should be sent to us no later than September 21st at 5 p.m. We have broad powers of oversight under Rule 10. If you have any questions, Jack, let us know. Sincerely, your friend, Jim Jordan, Chairman on the Judiciary Committee. And this is fun. So, Jack Smith now receives a letter from Congress investigating his corrupt prosecutor's misconduct. We'll see what Jack Smith says in response to this, if anything, but this is absolutely appropriate, and I'm very grateful to see that Congress is on it. When we get a response, we'll see what it says, and remember how this pattern goes. It's always a request for information, then usually a non-response, sometimes a second request, sometimes a non-response, sometimes we get a response, but they're almost always never in compliance, which means we walk ourselves down the path of subpoenas, and we love to see those subpoenas, and we'll wait to see if they come here. We will cover it when they do. If they do, we hope you join us when they hit. Thank you for subscribing, my friends, wherever it is you are watching this one.